Hey, how y'all doing? So, Rob Van Dam and James Storm are apparently both free agents, and I want to talk about whether it would make sense to bring either one of them in to the WWE or anywhere else, AEW or somewhere else. So, it was announced on September the 28th that Rob Van Dam is no longer with Impact Wrestling. His last match having been televised the week before, a match against the Warthog, Sami Callihan, the One Man Nasty Boys, and Rob Van Dam he'll be 49. He'll be 50 in December. So you kind of have to ask the question of what Rob Van Dam can bring to the table at 50 years old. Um, I don't need to go through Rob Van Dam's history or, I mean, if you don't know who Rob Van Dam is, I mean, you need to basically wake up from your coma, but that you've been in for 25 years. Because Rob Van Dam is one of the most innovative performers in history. Unfortunately, he was a kid when he was doing his most innovative stuff. But you see a lot of the Power Rangers fight scenes and different things like that. You see like Will Ospreay, guys like them do. That was stuff Rob Van Dam was doing in 1997. Like a lot of people are still kind of doing Rob Van Dam and Sabu spots in today's modern wrestling, and they're basically just taking their stuff and going to the next level with it. But Rob has been sort of he's been on a very easy schedule with Impact. He hasn't had to do that much, and because he's older now, I believe I said this in my indie report, is that now that Rob Van Dam is older, he has been leaning more towards character, and he's kind of been sort of just utilizing Katie Forbes, who's also left Impact, but whatever. He's kind of been utilizing her to enhance his character, much like Randy Savage did in his later years when he was bringing like the Miss Madness and all them type of characters to surround himself with because he was slowing down. Scott Steiner did the same thing in his later years. He would bring in different people, in order to help enhance his character because physically he couldn't do it anymore. So, what does Rob Van Dam bring? I mean, he brings a wealth of expertise, and physically, I don't think Rob Van Dam could keep up with most people. So, would it make sense for Rob Van Dam to go to AEW? Let's say, um, probably for a shot. Now, I think that maybe a shot or two in AEW because part of Rob Van Dam's gimmick is that is what I said earlier, that he's been doing a lot of this stuff that these kids are doing now, and they're kind of stealing from him. And that was part of the Rob Van Dam heel turn, is that he was in Impact, which I know it was weird that Rob Van Dam turned heel, but it was actually fun because it was party guy Rob Van Dam who was like, everything you guys are doing, I've already done it. You guys are just stealing my stuff and remixing it and stuff like that. I think that would be an interesting short run in AEW to just have him do that with somebody who's young, maybe like a Phoenix or something like that. It may be a fun gimmick for Rob Van Dam to be like, look, I may be a little bit older, but you guys are so far behind me that I've actually come up with a bunch of new stuff. And, it's not just something of that effect. But he obviously has tremendous value to WWE as far as doing documentaries are concerned and doing, Hall of Fame, all that shit. Like he has tons of value to WWE. Maybe not as much in ring. I would love if Rob Van Dam was to have his like retirement match at WrestleMania 37. Like that would be badass if he gets to pick his opponent or something like that. Even though Kurt Angle didn't get to pick his opponent, it would be dope if like RVD came in and maybe it was RVD and Roman, and he got that Paul Heyman piece there. That might be pretty cool too for a SmackDown, a short run on SmackDown. Um, I just don't think that physically it'll be the Rob Van Dam match that everybody wants. I think people would look at it and be like, yeah, what could have been if this match had taken place in 2014 or 2013 or maybe in 2012, which is 8 years ago. Like Rob would have been he'd have been like 40, 41. Rob's last run in WWE did not last long. I think he just wrestled Alberto Del Rio, and he wrestled on a kickoff show. I don't even remember what his opponent was, but he didn't have a good run, and he was a little pissed, and he left. But I think that obviously he has, like I said, a wealth of opportunities at WWE, but I'm not so sure if in ring he is what they want him to be, and he has a history of concussions and injuries and age, and it's just. But I don't. 50 is a little too young to retire. So you kind of have to ask the question of what really can he do, especially during the pandemic. Can he go to AAA or something like that? I don't think AAA is even running yet. Does he have a space maybe in MLW? Probably. I think MLW might be a good spot for him. He doesn't have to do as much. He can live primarily off of his name. And much like a La Parka or somebody like that, where he'll wrestle once every couple of months, but then he'll just basically be doing promos. Him and Katie Forbes, her shaking her ass and throwing money in the air and all that type of stuff, which is stuff he can't do in WWE. It has to be very, very toned down. So he probably wouldn't even be able to get away with it in AEW, because AEW, and plus they want matches to be 20 minutes and all that shit, and I don't think Rob can do that. And I would very hate to see Rob Van Dam in the same situation as Christopher Daniels, where they're doing 10-minute matches on Dark and losing to guys that even though Christopher Daniels is nowhere near in the stratosphere of Rob Van Dam as far as popularity and name value, but it still sucks to see Christopher Daniels can barely move and can barely do anything. But I think Jericho and Rob Van Dam may be a fun story in AEW. I think that's also a good possibility. So, there's some options there. So let's talk about James Storm. Hey, how y'all doing? This is Mongo Slade, and today we're going to talk about James Storm. So James Storm apparently is a free agent. He's no longer signed to the NWA as far as, I believe, as of February. This could be all fake news, but I'm going off of the dirt sheets. So make sure you take everything with a pinch of salt. But just let's talk about this as if it's real. Okay, let's talk about James Storm as a performer. So James Storm is sort of a TNA original guy. He spent about a decade there. He was there for a long time, and he was a world champion in TNA. And I really, really enjoyed the hell out of his TNA championship run, even though it was short. It was really short. And what I mean by that is, I think he was a champion for like a week. And then when I say I enjoyed his run, what I meant was the run up to the match with Kurt Angle when he won the title, and the string of matches he had with Bobby Roode after he lost the title. So that whole main event run with James Storm, I really, really enjoyed it. And I kind of liked some of the Beer Money stuff. I really thought it was weird. Beer Money was fun. It was fine. I love America's Most Wanted, though. America's Most Wanted, when Chris Harris was in shape, oh, they were so badass. They were badass. They were really good. And then Chris Harris, I thought, was going to be a big star coming to WWE. And it didn't work. And he came as Braden Walker, and he was fat. They put him in a goddamn singlet. It was a mess. It was disgusting. But I'm jumping all over the place. But James Storm had a run at NXT. It was a very short run. I think he might have one or two appearances during a short run at NXT. I forget what year that was. Might have been 2017, 2018. Right after following after he left TNA, Impact, after the great purge of Impact, where everybody left, pretty much everybody left. EC3 left, McIntyre left, Lashley left, Del Rio left, Kurt Angle left, everybody left. Everybody got the hell out of there. Matt Hardy left, the Hardy Boys, both Hardy Boys left. Pretty much everybody got the hell out of TNA at some point. And James Storm was no different. He got the hell out of there. But he did a short run in NXT. He wasn't signed to a contract. He just did like a couple of appearances, a couple of matches. It was nothing set in stone. And then he went to join the NWA. And he was in the NWA for a while. And I thought he was going to win the world title. He has far more charisma than Nick Aldis, but for some reason they didn't want to put the title on him. They did put the North American Championship on him for a short time. Then he lost it to, I believe, Willie Mack. And then he just kind of coasted after that. He didn't really do much of anything. And then he ended up as a tag team champion with Eli Drake, and then his contract expired. So now James Storm is out of here. So we have options now, right? Because now AEW is a thing. But AEW has their anxious millennial cowboy, and they don't really need a, actual cowboy. It's like they don't need James Storm, who is basically older, not as in shape, but actually far more masculine and manlier Adam Page. We really don't need James Storm in AEW. Do you really need him in NXT, though? So that's a good question. At 43, he is in the same age bracket with, Finn Balor and those guys who are in the upper 30s, early 40s. I mean, it'll add some star power to the show. That would be true, but I don't know what he's got left in the tank because I haven't seen him in a long time. I think just based off name value and the character and what he might be able to bring, it's an interesting idea. But I think he probably fits more by going back to Impact because it seemed like to some degree Impact is collecting all of their old toys. All of the toys that they purged a couple of years ago are coming back. EC3 came back, Eric Young came back, Rhino came back. It would make sense for James Storm to go back. But I like James Storm. I really do. I just think that the problem is his age, and I'm not so sure if he's in the best shape possible. But I think as far as character goes and charisma and stuff like that, he could be a solid, really solid mid-card heel. And his heel run in TNA was really good too. You know, he's just an all-around decent performer. He's not, when he was a babyface and he was over, he was hot. Like the whole thing with him and Rude was amazing stuff. It was probably one of my favorite TNA stories ever. Probably, yeah, it definitely is my TNA story. As far as TNA originals, guys who had never worked in WWE before. And I love that story between the two of them. That was great. I'm not so sure what we do with James Storm now, though. It makes sense to go back to Impact if they'll have him, which I'm pretty sure they would. And NXT is an option. AEW is obviously always an option, but he's 43 with a gimmick that is similar to a guy that they have already who is much younger. Now, he could add something to Adam Page, maybe be a mentor or something like that. He could come in as a mentor to Adam Page or something, and that would be a good use for him. But I don't know what he wants to do. And I don't even know if this is true. So let's talk about this with a grain of salt. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think of James Storm? Where do you think he should go if he is a free agent? If he's not, then hey, he just goes back to NWA. But let me know what you guys think. Hit like, share, and subscribe. And make sure you get notifications for all of my videos. And I'll talk to you guys later.